Hey guys, I'm T and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, we make trendy and fun crochet tutorials twice a week, and if you haven't already, smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to join in on the fun. In this tutorial, I'll be sharing how to make a trendy cable stitch crop top fit with thicker straps and a minimal rib design, sure to be your next handcrafted wardrobe staple. Speaking of, by now y'all already know the drill, but just in case you're new, wardrobe-ready modern crochet tutorials and patterns are here with even more, dropping twice weekly, so consider clicking the bell to subscribe and you'll never miss an upload. Also, do me a huge favor and give this video a big thumbs up if you like it, or 2 thumbs down if you don't. Either way, it's a great way to show support so I can keep putting out free tutorials every Wednesday and Sunday. Now it's time to get on the show, so without further ado. For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used a total of 170 grams of yarn. That's 305 yards if you're stateside. As for tools, a 5mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There is a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount off any $9.99 plus order, and enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us if you'd rather have a meal made by your favorite celebrity chef or see your favorite musical artist in concert. I love me a good meal, so I gotta pick the chef. Details for the giveaway down below. We're using 5 stitches for this project, and they'll be as follows. Chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, treble crochet, and double treble crochet. This tutorial is made for a size small. You can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting this top started, we're all going to grab our category 4 yarn and make a slip knot. Then we're all going to grab our 5mm hook, and we're all going to start by making a chain 15 because we're all getting started with our cable stitch detail first, and it's going to be the same for everyone no matter what size we're making. Now that we have our chain, we're all going to block off that last chain and do a chain 2. Now that chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, that's our turning chain, and we're going to start with our first row, which is a half double crochet row. So yarn over into that chain that we blocked off, or the third chain from our hook. We're going to bring our hook down into that chain, pull through to get 3 loops on our hook, then yarn over, pull through all 3. Once more, yarn over into that following chain, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, and continue with 1 half double crochet into every chain. So we are back. Our row 1 is completed. Now what we're all going to do from here is our row 2, which is simply a single crochet row. So we're all going to chain 1 and flip. And pretty simple, all we're going to do is put 1 single crochet into every stitch. So we have just completed our row 2. From here, we're all going to get started on our row 3, or our first cable stitch row. So we're all going to chain 2 and flip. Now our cable stitch rows, or our odd number rows, are always going to start with our twist. So what we're all going to do is yarn over twice. That prepares us for a front post treble crochet. Then each of our post stitches will be worked into our previous odd number row. So since we're currently working on row 3, our post stitches is going to be worked into our row 1. So taking a look at our row 1, we are going to skip that first half double crochet, making sure that we're not counting that chain 2. Then into that next and into the one right after that, 1 front post treble crochet into each. So go ahead and bring your hook down, remembering we're skipping that first half double. Underneath the body of that next half double, we're going to insert our hook underneath and through the other side. Then we're all going to yarn over and pull through. Once we've pulled through, all we're going to do is yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. So yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Now that is our first front post treble crochet. We're going to be doing another one into that following stitch. So yarn over twice. Underneath the body of that following stitch, we're going to insert and through the other side, pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That is our second front post treble crochet. Now to do the twist portion, we're all going to do another front post treble crochet, but working back into that one skip stitch. So yarn over twice, bring your hook down underneath the body of that first half double crochet from our previous odd number row and through the other side. Then just like the other stitches, we're going to yarn over and pull through. From here, we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and now the twist detail is completed. Now we're all going to do our dividing stitch. Our dividing stitch is always going to be a front post treble crochet, so yarn over twice again, and just into that following stitch from our row 1, we're going to bring our hook underneath, through the other side, pull through. Again, yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Now we have our twist and our dividing stitch. Our twist and our dividing stitch are completed. Now we're going to do our middle cable stitch detail, so we're all going to yarn over 3 times, preparing for a front post double treble crochet. So yarn over 1, 2, 3 times. Now taking a look at our row 1 again, we're going to skip the following 2 stitches, then into the following 2, we're going to put 1 front post double treble crochet into each of those. So bring our hook down. Like I said, we're going to skip 1, skip 2. Underneath the body of that next stitch, insert through the other side and pull through. Then from here, yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. That is our first front post double treble crochet. We're going to be doing another one into that following stitch. So yarn over 3 times again. Underneath the body of that following stitch, we're going to insert underneath, through the other side, pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Now that the first 2 stitches for our middle cable stitch detail are completed, we're going to be working into the 2 stitches that we just skipped over. So we're going to be putting 1 front post double treble crochet into each of those. So we're going to start with a yarn over of 3. Working into that first skip stitch, we're going to bring our hook down, underneath, through the other side, and pull through. Then again, yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Now that that first front post double treble is completed, another front post double treble into the following, so again yarn over 3 times. Bring our hook down, underneath the body of that stitch, through the other side, pull through, then again yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now the crossover for our middle cable stitch detail is completed. We still need to complete it though. So into the following 2 stitches, 1 front post treble crochet into each of those. So yarn over twice. Underneath the body of that following stitch from our previous odd number row, pull through, then pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Again, another front post treble underneath that following stitch. And now our cable stitch detail is completed. Now we're going to do our dividing stitch, then our twists. So our dividing stitch, like I said, is always going to be a front post treble crochet, so yarn over twice. Bring your hook down underneath the body of that following stitch, through the other side, pull through, and again, pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. And now that our middle cable stitch detail is completed, we're going to finish this off with our twist. And our twist is going to be the same as the first section that we did. So we're going to start with a yarn over of 2 that's preparing us for a front post treble crochet. We're then going to skip that following stitch from our previous odd number row. Then into the following 2 stitches, we're going to put 1 front post treble crochet into each of those. So we're going to skip 1 underneath the following stitch with 1 front post treble crochet. So just yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Underneath that following stitch, another front post treble. So underneath that following stitch, which should be our second to last from our previous odd number row, And now that we have those 2 front post trebles, we're going to work our way back into that 1 skip stitch. So yarn over twice. Back into that skip stitch with 1 front post treble crochet. And now that we have pulled through and completed that last stitch, we're just going to be putting 1 half double crochet into the top of the last stitch from our previous row just to secure everything down. So yarn over, insert your hook into the top of the last stitch from our previous row with 1 half double crochet. Now everyone's row 3 is completed. We should all still have a total of 15 stitches since we didn't do any increases or decreases. So now all we're going to do from here is our even number row. Now for this cable stitch detail, every even number row is going to be a single crochet row. So chain 1, flip our work, put 1 single crochet into every stitch, then I'll meet you back at the end of the row. So we are back and our row 4 is completed. Now let's get started on our row 5. So chain 2 and flip. So getting started on our row 5 or any cable stitch row, it's always going to start with the same twist that we just did. So as a refresher, we're all going to yarn over twice. We're going to take a look at our previous odd number row, because remember our post stitches are always going to be worked into our previous odd number row. So all we're going to do is skip that first stitch from our previous odd number row. Then into that next stitch, we're going to put 1 front post treble crochet into there. So like I said, skip 1 into the next with 1 front post treble crochet. So pull through and yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Into that following stitch from our previous odd number row, we're going to insert with another front post treble. So yarn over twice again. Underneath the body of that stitch, through the other side, and pull through. From here, we're all going to yarn over, pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Then to do the twist portion, we're going to put 1 front post treble crochet into that 1 skip stitch. So yarn over twice. Underneath that stitch, through the other side, pull through. Then pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and our twist portion is completed. Now, our next stitch is our dividing stitch, which like I said is always a front post treble, so yarn over twice. Underneath that following stitch from our previous odd number row, we're going to insert with our front post treble crochet. So our twist for our row 5 is completed. Now we're all going to get started with our cable stitch detail. So, to do the middle cable detail, we're all going to start with 2 front post treble crochets. So yarn over twice, and just finding that next available stitch from our previous odd number row, we're going to bring our hook down, underneath the body, through the other side, and pull through. Then pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Underneath that following stitch as well, so yarn over twice. Underneath that following stitch from our previous odd number row, insert, pull through, then pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Then, to do our twist portion for the middle cable stitch detail, we're all going to start with a yarn over of 3, preparing for a front post double treble crochet. Then we're going to skip over the following 2 stitches, then into the 2 stitches right after that, 1 front post double treble crochet into each of those. So we have already yarned over 3 times. Remember, skip 1, skip 2. Underneath that following stitch, we're going to pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Then again into that following stitch with another front post double treble crochet. So pull through and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Now that we have those 2 stitches completed, we're now going to work back into our skip stitches, but now working in through that window that we just made for ourselves. So how we're going to do that is yarn over 3 times, preparing for front post double treble crochet. We're then going to hang on to our working yarn because it can very easily fall off, and pull our work down towards us, finding those 2 skip stitches in through that window. So we're going to pull down, finding those 2 skip stitches. Here's my first and here's my second. We're going to insert our hook underneath that first skip stitch with a front post double treble crochet per usual, so pull through, then just yarn over and pull through 2 till we have 1 loop left on our hook again. Now this is what our work should be looking like so far, and we're going to do that one more time into that following skip stitch. So yarn over 3 times. Hang on to your working yarn, pull your work down, finding that last skip stitch. This is mine, so I'm going to bring my hook down, underneath, through the other side, and pull through. Then again, yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. And now the cable stitch detail is complete. Now we're going to complete this portion off with our dividing stitch, which is always a front post treble, so yarn over twice. Insert your hook underneath the body of that stitch, through the other side, pull through, then pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left. So our middle cable stitch detail for our row 5 is complete. Now we're going to finish it off with our twist. Our twist is going to be done exactly the same way as our row 3's twist. So as a refresher, we're going to yarn over twice, preparing for a front post treble crochet. We're going to skip that following stitch from our previous odd number row. Then insert your hook underneath the body of that following stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left on our hook. Then 1 front post treble crochet into the following stitch as well. So yarn over twice, pull through, and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left. Then for the twist portion for our twist, we're going to insert our hook back into that 1 skip stitch. So yarn over twice, bring your hook back, underneath the body of that stitch, pull through, then yarn over and pull through 2 until we have 1 loop left again. Now the twist is completed, and simply finish off the row with 1 half double crochet into the top of the last stitch from our previous row. So our row 5 is complete. Like I said, every even number row is a single crochet row. So chain 1, flip our work, 1 single crochet into every stitch until we reach the end of the row. So our row 6 is complete. From here, all we're going to do is continue to repeat rows 3 through 6 until we get the height of the piece that we want. Now the timestamps for each of these sections and rows will be linked in the description, but I'm just going to get started on the following row with you just to make sure we all have it down. So we're going to get started on our row 7, so chain 2 and flip. Now we're going to do this a little bit quicker, so we're going to get started with our twist. We're all going to yarn over twice. We want to make sure that each of our post stitches is being worked into our previous odd number row to make sure that all of our cables look like they're connected. So we're going to skip that first stitch, then underneath the body of that next with 1 front post treble crochet, then underneath the body of that following stitch another front post treble crochet. Then to complete our twist, working back into that 1 skip stitch, another front post treble crochet into there. Now that our twist is completed, then our dividing stitch. So yarn over twice, underneath that next stitch with a front post treble. Then we're going to get started on our repeat of row 3's middle cable. So just as a refresher, we're all going to start with a yarn over of 3, preparing for a front post double treble. We're going to skip the following 2 stitches, and into the 2 stitches right after that, 1 front post double treble crochet into each of those. Now that those 2 stitches are completed, we're going to work back into those 2 skip stitches with 1 front post double treble crochet into each of those as well. And from here, we're just going to continue on to repeat our row 3's cable and twist per usual, making our way all the way down. We're going to continue to repeat rows 3 through 6 until we now have a portion that can reach from the bottom of our top. So placing this first row right at our waist, working our way all the way up until this reaches mid-chest or just about 1 inch underneath our underarm. Then I'll meet everyone back right after a cable stitch row, then we can start working on the width of the front panel together from there. So we are back. We have just completed the height of our cable stitch detail. Now I did a total of 29 rows. This height is just about 8 inches or 20 centimeters. Now we're just going to fill in the sides and the back panel. So that's going to be pretty simple. What we're going to do is, since we all should have ended right after a cable stitch row, is chain 1, flip our work, and we're going to work down the side of our cable stitch detail. Now what we're all going to do is put 2 single crochet into every side cable stitch row and 1 single crochet into every side single crochet row. So let's get that started. Now everyone's first side row should be a side cable stitch row. So we're going to find that top loop, which is this half double crochet right here. Find that top loop and insert with 2 single crochets. So there's 1, same top loop with a second. All right, the next side row is a side single crochet row. So we're going to find that top loop and insert with just 1. Let's do that again. This is our following side row. find that top loop. Since it's a side cable stitch row, we're going to insert 2 single crochet into there. Then into our following side row, which is a side single crochet row, find that top loop and insert with just 1. Continue on with the single crochet row, making our way all the way down. When we don't have any more side rows left to work into, I'll meet you back. So we are back and we have just made our way down with our single crochet row. Now we're going to do our following row, which is a back loop slip stitch row. So chain 1 and flip. All we're going to do is find that last stitch from our previous row, insert into that back loop, yarn over, and gently pull through everything. Again, next stitch is back loop, insert, pull through everything, and continue with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. Our back loop slip stitch row is complete. Now from here we're going to do the following row in our row sequence, which is a back loop half double crochet row. So chain 2 and flip. And this is going to be pretty simple. All we're going to do is yarn over into that first stitch's back loop with a half double crochet, and that's it. Continue with 1 back loop half double crochet into the rest of our stitches. So we are back and our back loop half double crochet row is completed. So all we're going to do is continue to repeat these 2 rows until we have a portion that can wrap around all the way over to mid back. Now, if you guys need more width for the bust, I will show you guys how to do that once we get there, but we just want to make sure that the under bust, so where our underwire would sit and lower, would be nice and snug. So just make sure that you're measuring that bottom portion, then I will meet you guys back. And also that we are stretching this as if we're wearing it, because this does have a decent amount of stretch to it. Once we have that width, I'll meet everyone back right after a half double crochet row, then we can get started on the other side. So we are back. We have just completed one of our side panels. Now I have a total of 37 rows. This width is just about 8.5 inches or 22 centimeters unstretched, or my total width that I have so far is just about 11.5 inches or 30 centimeters, also unstretched. Now what we're going to do from here is repeat everything we did here on the other side. So all we're going to do is insert our hook into the bottom corner stitch of our cable stitch detail, so where our first row was, then just do our same single crochet row. That single crochet row should show the front of our stitches. Then just our back loop slip, back loop half double crochet rows for the same amount of rows that we have for this first side panel. So we are back. We now have both of our side panels completed. Now the total width that I have is just about 20 inches or 52 centimeters unstretched. Now from here we're going to work on the bust width portion. So what we're going to want to do is try this piece on. We do want to make sure that we're stretching it as if we're wearing it. Then pinching from the bottom, remembering that the bottom is going to be where the bottom of the cable stitch detail is, we're going to make sure that this is sitting where we would like for it to sit once when it's completed. Then we're just going to pinch both of our panels all the way up until it gets a little bit too tight to pinch. Then from that point upwards, we're going to fill in for the bust just to give us a little bit more width. Now for those of you that have my numbers, I went ahead and inserted my stitch marker into the 19th stitch from the bottom. Then once we have our stitch marker into place, we can work on the seam. So what we're going to do is start by making sure that our work is slipped right side out, right side up. Then insert your hook into the bottom corner stitch of both the front and the back panel. Then we're going to do an outside loop slip stitch seam until we reach our stitch marker. So start with a pull through and do a chain up of 1 to secure. What we're going to do from here is finding that first stitch into the front panel, insert in through that front loop, next stitch into the back panel, insert into that back loop, yarn over, pull through everything on our hook. Again, next stitch into the front panel, next stitch into the back panel, yarn over, pull through everything, and continue doing this until we're worked into the stitch right before our stitch marker stitch, then do a chain up of 1 and cut, then we'll work on the fill in for the bust. So we are back. We have just completed our back seam. Now we're going to work on the fill-in portion. So first things first, we're going to make sure the work is slipped right side out, right side up. We're going to insert our hook into the top left corner stitch, and we're going to do the following row in our row sequence, which is a back loop slip stitch row. So we're all going to chain 1, flip our work, and start working our way down with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, leaving 2 stitches right before our seam. So we've made our way down with our back loop slip stitches, and we should have all left 2 stitches right before our seam. Now from here, we're going to do a decrease of 2 back loop slip stitches. So insert in through that second to last back loop, pull through, into that last back loop, yarn over, and pull through everything on our hook. Now we do want to make sure that we don't have a gap between this row and our seam, so simply put 1 slip stitch into the top of that seam that we have. So insert, yarn over, and pull through everything, and we do want to make sure that we're inserting a stitch marker into the top of that middle stitch. Then from here, working our way up the other side, we're going to start with a decrease of 2 back loop slip stitches again. So we're going to find that first available stitch on the other side. We're going to insert into that back loop, pull through into that next stitch's back loop as well. When we have these 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, then continue on with the rest of the row with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. So we are back. We have just completed our first back loop slip stitch row. Now from here we're going to do our following back loop half double crochet row. So chain 2, flip our work. Put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch, leaving 3 stitches before our middle stitch marker stitch. So we are back. I've made my way down with my back loop half double crochets, leaving 1, 2, 3 stitches before my middle stitch marker stitch. Now what we're going to do is a decrease of 3 half doubles. So yarn over, we're going to insert our hook into that third to last back loop, pull through, into that following back loop as well, pull through, and into that last stitch right before our stitch marker stitch. Yarn over, pull through for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on our hook. Then yarn over, pull through all 5. That is a decrease for this side. Into the top of our middle stitch, we are going to be putting 1 back loop half double crochet. That is our middle stitch, and don't forget to put your stitch marker into the top of that stitch. Now that our middle stitch is completed, working our way back up the other side, start with a decrease of 3 back loop half double crochets again. So yarn over, insert your hook into that following stitch's back loop, pull through, next stitch's back loop, pull through, and next stitch's back loop, pull through for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on our hook. Then yarn over, pull through all 5, then continue with 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. So our back loop half double crochet row is completed. Now all we're going to do from here is continue to repeat these 2 previous rows. So just a back loop slip stitch row with a decrease of 2 back loop slip stitches on both sides of our middle stitch marker, making sure we're always inserting our stitch marker into that middle stitch. Then a back loop half double crochet row with a decrease of 3 on both sides of our middle stitch marker. Just continue to repeat those 2 rows until we now have a portion that can wrap around your bust. Then I'll meet everyone back right after a half double crochet row so we can seam it all together. So we are back. I've just completed the bust width fill-in portion. I just had a total of 4 rows. Now after those 4 rows, I went ahead and did the same seam that we did for the back, so just an outside loop slip stitch seam. Now since we already know how to do that, we're going to make sure that our work is flipped right side out, right side up. Then we're going to insert our hook into the corner stitches of both the front and the back panel, do the same outside loop slip stitch seam. When we don't have any more stitches left, do a chain up a 1 and cut. Then from here, we're going to single crochet along the top to help prep us for our straps. So what we're going to do is making sure the work is still flipped right side out, right side up. We're going to insert our hook into the top of our back seam and start with a single crochet row. So all we're going to do is put 2 single crochets into every side, half double crochet, 1 single crochet into every side slip stitch row. So what we're all going to do is pull through and do a chain up of 1 to secure. Now that chain 1 doesn't actually count as a stitch. Then finding our first side row, which should be a side half for everyone, we're going to find that top loop and insert with 2 single crochets. So there's 1 and then there's 2. Into our following side row, which should be a side half double crochet for everyone, find that top loop and insert with 1. Again, next side row, which is a side half, find that top loop and insert with 2, and that's basically it for this portion. We're just going to continue with our single crochet row, making our way all the way around. Now just as a really quick tip, once we reach the front portion, right after our last side slip stitch row, right before our cable, we should have just 1 single crochet row in between that row and the cable stitch. We're going to be putting 1 single crochet into there and 1 single crochet on the other side of our side single crochet row on the other side of our cable as well. We do want to make sure that we're inserting a stitch marker into those stitches just so we frame off where our cable stitch detail is. Once we've made our way all the way around, slip stitch into that chain space. And lastly, this single crochet row is going to be as wide as this portion can stretch. So once when it's completed, try your piece on. If it's a little too tight, we do some stitches with a looser grip, or if it's too loose, you do some stitches with a tighter grip, and I'll meet you back. So we are back. We have just completed single crocheting along the entirety of the top of our piece. Now from here, we're going to get started on our straps. So first things first, we're all going to want to try on our piece, and we're going to insert our stitch markers into the stitches where we'd like for the straps to be. Now taking a look at the front panel, I already have this strap completed. I inserted my stitch marker into the 6th and 11th stitch away from where my cable stitch marker stitch is, that is including that stitch marker stitch, and I went ahead and did the same thing on the other side as well. Now I insert it into the 6th and the 11th stitch, which gives me 6 stitches from stitch marker to stitch marker, which is roughly 1 inch or 2 centimeters, because that's the width that I'd like for the strap to be. But if you would like for your strap to be wider, have your stitch markers further out, or if you would like for a more narrow strap, insert your stitch markers closer together. Then for the back, you'll probably want to try on your piece, then insert your stitch markers where you'd like for the strap to connect in the back as well. We do want to make sure that the stitch markers are spaced out to have the same amount of stitches that it's going to have for the entirety of the strap. So for me, 6 stitches. But for my back, I just went ahead and counted from my back seam and inserted my stitch marker into the 6th and 12th stitch on both sides of my stitch marker stitch. Now from here, we can get started on our strap. So let's turn our work over and take a look at the front panel. Now the strap is going to be done the same way as the body. So we're going to start with the back loop slip stitch row. So getting started on the strap, we are all going to make sure that we're inserting into the left stitch marker stitch, working our way towards the right. Then we're going to start with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch, which will show the back of the slip stitch row, but it'll give us this ribbing that we have for the body as well. Now when I've inserted my yarn onto my hook, into that same stitch that our chain 1 is in, we're going to insert with a slip stitch, then working our way across until we're worked into our following stitch marker stitch, 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. So our back loop slip stitch row is completed. Now from here, we're all going to chain 2 and flip, then put 1 back loop half double crochet into every stitch. So our back loop half double crochet row is completed. Now from here, we're going to continue to repeat these 2 previous rows until we have a strap that can reach up and over our shoulder to the stitch markers that we have within the back. Then I'll meet everyone back right after a half double crochet row so we can seam it all together. So we are back. I've just completed my strap. Now for the strap portion, I have a total of 36 rows. This length is just about 10 inches or 26 centimeters. Now we're going to seam it to the back. So this is going to be the same outside loop slip stitch seam that we did for the back. So I'm just going to talk you guys through it. Making sure that our work is slipped right side out, right side up. We're all going to insert our hook into the stitch marker stitch within the back panel and then into the strap. Then do our same outside loop slip stitch seam so we don't have any more stitches left. When we don't, do a chain up 1 and cut, then repeat on the other side. Alright, so we are back. We have just completed both of our straps. Now what we're going to do from here is just clean everything up with the bottom band. So first things first, we're going to make sure that our work is still flipped right side out, right side up. Insert our hook into the stitch that we have that's nearest to our back seam along the bottom. Then we're going to do a single crochet row, pretty much the same way that we did this single crochet row along the top. So just to talk you guys through it, 2 single crochet into every side half double, 1 single crochet into every side slip stitch row. Then once we reach the front, we should have just 1 side single crochet row on both sides of our cable, so 1 single crochet into there, then 1 single crochet into each of the stitches along the bottom of our cable stitch detail. Then I'll meet you back at the end of this row. And just as a really quick tip, this single crochet row is going to be as wide as this portion can stretch, so when it's completed, try our piece on. If it's a little too loose, reduce some stitches with a tighter grip, or if it's too tight, reduce some stitches with a looser grip. So we are back, and my single crochet row is all completed. Now from here, we're going to do just a back loop slip stitch bottom band. So right after we slip stitch into that chain space, we're all going to make a chain the length that we'd like for the bottom band to be. I'd like for mine to be just about 1 inch or 2 centimeters, so I'm going to start by making a chain 10. So now that we have our chain, we're all going to block off that last chain and do a chain 1. Into that chain that we blocked off, the second chain from our hook, we're going to insert with a slip stitch. And since we already know how to do our slip stitches, just continue with 1 slip stitch into every chain. And really quickly, we still want to make sure that we're not tugging too tightly, otherwise the following rows will be too tight to work into. So our first row is complete. Now we're going to connect it into the base. So simply finding that next available stitch into the base, we're going to insert with a slip stitch. Now that slip stitch into the base doesn't actually count as a stitch, that's just to connect. Then to work our way up to the following row, we're going to slip stitch up that following stitch into the base, flip our work, and then put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch again. So just finding that last stitch from our previous row, we're all going to insert in through that back loop, or the loop that's furthest away from us, yarn over, and pull through everything, and continue with 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch. Then at the end of the row, we're all going to chain 1, flip our work, and put 1 back loop slip stitch into every stitch again. That'll meet everyone back at the end of our row 3. We are back, and we're now at the end of our row 3. Now from here, we're going to connect it into the base again. So just to connect it into the base together again, find that next swivel stitch into the base, insert with a slip stitch, then to work our way up to the following row, slip stitch into that next available stitch, flip our work, then do our following row, which is another back loop slip stitch row. From here, continue to repeat these 2 previous rows, making our way all the way around, and I'll meet you back when we don't have any more stitches left. So we are back. We have just made our way all the way around with our back loop slip stitch rows. Now from here, we're going to seam everything together, and it will be seamed exactly the same way as our back and our bust width. So just to talk you guys through it, we're all going to make sure that our work is flipped right side out, right side up. Then we're going to do our same outside loop slip stitch seam till we don't have any more stitches left to work into. When we don't, do a chain up of 1 and cut. And now that that's completed, we are all done. The last thing we have to do is weave in all of our ends. And there you have it, y'all. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Join us on Instagram, Pinterest, or Twitter. Those links are down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Catch you on the next one. Bye!